It has a little
Success on a Tuesday already.
Sure. It has a little bit of a delay, but that's okay. I think we'll get through that.
Okay.
So, yeah, I want to welcome everybody to today's Community Connection. I'm Dr. Josh with Well Chiropractic. I am a family pediatric prenatal chiropractor, and my goal with this is to be a community resource for everybody by bringing you community connections like this, just to be that go-to resource for all things health and wellness, around the valley in Alaska. So I'd like to introduce you to Kati Ream. She is a life coach. She is originally from Kenai, but she's lived kind of all over the Pacific Northwest, and she has 3 kids. And I didn't know this, but I knew your younger 2 for sure, but you have a 20-year-old as well. So
I know, yeah. Crazy, huh?
So yeah, and one cool thing that when we were talking earlier is, when you are talking to your clients and stuff, one of the big things that we both have in common is, anxiety and stress. That's a big thing we focus on. So yeah. We'll get more into that here. But as you know, and many of other people know that are watching, every time when you come into my office, before we get an adjustment, we start out with telling me something good. So, Kati, tell me something good today before we get started.
I'm live on Facebook with Dr. Josh.
Okay, I'll accept that one. Sure. That is great. All right, so life coach. What is that? What does it mean? What do you do for our community out there?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just to start off, so as you said, my name is Kati Ream. I'm a social worker, and I'm also a personal trainer and athletic trainer. And about 2 years ago, I decided to go all in with this life coaching business that just kind of found me through a matter of amazing circumstances. And essentially, so I'm a certified life coach, and I specialize in women who have had children. And when I say that, I mean, like they could have had children yesterday or they had children 20 years ago. The commonality between that is that their lives are very busy and they're looking to kind of reestablish and refine themselves. A lot of my clients come to me because they want to re-up their physical fitness journey, and they're struggling to find motivation. Okay. They're struggling to find time, which is a big one. Every mama listening is going to know what that means. So we get really strategic about how to make more time, how to find that motivation. But most importantly, we really get into mindset and just how are we approaching our roles and the millions of hats that we wear on a daily basis. How are we approaching that mentally? And how can we ensure that we are mentally really dialed in so that we can maximize the little time that we have and the little amount of energy and resources that we have? So it's all about just making mamas bigger and better. And a lot of my clients come to me to lose weight. A lot of my clients come to me because they have a big goal in mind, or they're switching careers, or their children just left the nest, or they've just had a baby enter the nest. It's mamas in transition who are looking for goals and looking to find themselves. And a lot of them are looking for that through physical fitness and activity. Yeah, it's super fun. I have amazing clients. It's so much fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, just to, help empower, women even, more. Than they already are, but yes. Yeah. So what are some of the goals that they come to you with?
So definitely weight loss. Big one. That is a big one for a lot of ladies, particularly when they have young babies and they've just put themselves on the back burner, spiritually, mentally, physically. So now they're at the point where they're like, okay, let's lose some weight. They've picked up a few habits along the way that contribute to weight gain. And so they need to mentally untrain those habits. Things like overeating. Binge eating is a big one for a lot of my mamas because binge eating is something that our human brains do whenever we get anxious. It's one of those dopamine producing behaviors. And so if you're anxious, eating sugar, eating carbohydrates and excess is something that will help damper that effect. So that's a big one to end the binge eating. I have mamas who have physical fitness goals, like maybe they want to run a marathon for the first time, or maybe they want to join, maybe they want to be a triathlete, and you know, they are not sure what that means. So that's when my skills as a personal trainer and an athletic trainer really come in as well, because I can help guide them through not just the physical training aspect of it, but also the emotional sports psychology aspect of it. And then I also have mamas who are looking to enter the workforce for the first time, either right after they've had a baby or years after they've had a baby. So I help them with that transition and easing of that transition. So it's kind of all over the board, but if I had to sum it into those three categories, those are pretty big issues in a woman's life after she's had children, that having a life coach, like having an objective person there to kind of witness your journey and walk you through it, is just going to help you be so solid with your goals and just get it. I mean, you're so much more efficient and effective with getting these goals.
Think really, no matter what part of your life, everybody needs some type of coach. We all need that person to hold us accountable, because most of us are not going to do that ourselves. So, so you said you're a social worker, or are a social worker. So how did you really just transition into this aspect of kind of your?
It's kind of a natural progression, actually. So got my master's in social work, oh my gosh, like 15 years ago now, I don't even know. And practiced social work in Washington State for a decade. Practiced actually in cognitive behavioral therapy and worked with survivors of domestic and sexual violence. So worked for many years with women who were in a state of trauma and crisis, helping them navigate those challenges. When I moved to Alaska, I thought, oh my gosh, I live in Alaska. I am not going to confine myself to an office every day. I have to figure out how to get out into the mountains. So I decided to start cross-country skiing. And here's the funny thing, because people who meet me, who know me, will laugh at this, but I didn't really become an athlete until I was 30. Like, I didn't know how to ski at all until I was 30. So if you're listening to this and you're like, over the age of 30 and you're like, I don't want to go do this scary sport because I'm going to fall on my bum and get bruises, you can do it. It's totally possible. So so moving to Alaska, and I thought, I've got to get out there. I've got to be in those mountains. So started skiing. And meeting just this amazing community that we have. We have an incredible Nordic community, Josh. It's just an amazing biking, running, hiking, mountain running. I mean, if you live in Alaska and you haven't connected with these people yet, really it's so accepting, and they're willing to it doesn't matter if you're a pro athlete, which we have a lot of, or if you're a beginner athlete who has never even been out on a hike before. This community will just swoop you in. So life coaching just became a natural balance between this two. My skills as a cognitive behavioral therapist, my skills as an athlete myself, as a coach, as an athletic coach, and I just started doing it naturally. Sense. And then I discovered this thing called life coaching, which a few years ago I had no idea was even a thing. And I thought, that's what I already
just put a title to it, right?
Okay. Why not? Yeah. So that's how it came to be.
So you kind of mentioned kind of moms that have had kids yesterday or years ago. So what exactly for you, what is your ideal client you just love to work with, or you love to help? Like maybe some more specifics that we can kind of reach out, and some moms are like, hey, that's me.
Yes. I love working with mamas who are really struggling to love their body, who are really struggling to look in the mirror every day and just say, girl, you're okay. You got this. So if you find yourself, and as we know, we have babies and our bodies change, and they change in ways that we could never have anticipated. And no one can even give us an indication that this will happen, because we all change so uniquely and differently. So physically, like is aesthetically and just physically, you know, so issues that are regarding the pelvic floor, etc. So I work very closely with pelvic floor therapists in the area to help, you know, kind of unify and make those connections seamless. But women who are just really struggling to love their bodies, and this mind-body connection is big. If you're in a place where you're really hurting every time you look at your reflection in the mirror, your mind is not going to be operating in full capacity. Your mind is not going to be showing up every day ready to be exactly who you were designed to be. So by taking our self-image and really working on that self-image, and helping women gather the tools to kind of reestablish their own definition of their body, they're healing their minds as well. And then the beautiful part is that they can go and they can teach their children these things too. And they can teach their daughters these messages. So that's, if I had to sum it up, it's the mama who's really hurting and doesn't like the way she looks whenever she looks in the mirror.
That's a huge thing.
Those are my ladies.
I mean,
those are my mamas.
You know, my mindset is, you know, everything really in every aspect, whether that's physical condition, being able to go out and, you know, do a sport you've never done. It's, you know, it's all really in your head, and there's, you know, there's ways that you can, you know, work through it. And that's awesome. So I know, you know, life coaches and things like that, that's seems like it's a newer thing, or there's a bunch of them now. You hear all about it. What, you know, obviously you work with moms, but what's a little more specific or unique about your business and what you do? Yeah,
so life coaching is kind of a newer thing, unless you're from California.
True,
life coaches have been around for forever. I don't know. They say that Alaska is about 10 years behind, so maybe that's the trend. But the unique aspect of my coaching practice is that I utilize a very specific cognitive behavioral tool to help women unlearn their habits. So we really dig into separating the difference between a circumstance and a thought. Because circumstances are situations that happen like outside of us, right? And then we create our thoughts about those circumstances. Now we can always control our thoughts, and our thoughts will always determine our results in life. So if you're at a place where all of a sudden you're like, I'm 20 pounds overweight, how did this happen? If that's the result that you have, oftentimes what we do, what we see on the TV, what we see, you know, in terms of media and advertisement, is that we should take a different action. We should just start taking different actions. Just like, you know, go buy a $10 fitness program, go get a gym membership, go sign up for X, Y, or Z. And I say, if this is the result you're getting, and if this is not the result that you want, it's not about the action, it's the thought behind it. It's the belief behind it. So let's get to that. Let's change, let's like figure out what that is. Let's change it to a belief that feels real and true and authentic for you, so that it has this trickle down effect to then change that result. And that's how we get our like big and bold transitions in life. And it's interesting because it sounds so simple logically, right? I mean, on a cognitive level, I know you're tracking with me here, but when you get into it, like when you're a fish in the water, you don't even know that you're wet. And so that's the part where having a life coach, and particularly my program, where I can just like dial in like a mindset ninja and help you get to this place of like, what is this underlying belief that you've been carrying with you? And it's amazing, Josh, when women figure it out. It's like, oh, I mean, they can literally feel like just this burden being lifted off of their shoulders. This thought that they had, that they've been carrying in their brain for 20, 30, 40 years, that they didn't even know that they had. Like it's just been like operating subconsciously, and they've been acting on it their entire lives. And once they like hear it for the first time, they're like,
wow,
oh my gosh, what? So getting to that, like, and then it, obviously, like once you hear it, you're like, oh, this is like illogical. Okay, I get it. Yes. And then we can go in and find a thought that is powerful and motivating and inspiring and empowering to help you get that result you want. So that's the biggest difference. We don't work with actions necessarily. Once you figure out the thought, it'll change your action. but we're focused on
I
what is
love
the
it.
underlying, like what
Yeah,
is
I
that
love it. That
belief?
aligns so
Yeah.
well with chiropractic and what I do in my office. We don't, your actions, kind of what
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about is kind of, the symptoms and things like that. And we're focused on the core, like really what's going on inside. So we always start with us, right? That's really, the only thing we can change is us. So whether it's your mindset or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is. So yeah, love it.
Absolutely. And it's so empowering once we see
Hmm.
that too. Because I think often we just operate, we have 60,000 thoughts that go through our brain every single day, and we don't register them
Oh
on a
yeah.
conscious level. I mean, they're operating here, we're acting on them, we're producing those results, and we're not even hearing them. So once we realize that that's what's happening, we are actually producing our
Yep.
results, not something outside of us. It's
It
so
is.
empowering. First, it's a little frightening because we can go, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I created this for myself. But then once we process through that, it becomes the most empowering piece of information I think any mama has to be able to equip in her
Hmm.
arsenal, in her toolkit of being able to be a fully
Yeah.
self-confident woman.
So I
It's
think
awesome.
most of us probably know this, but what is it that gets you up every day to go out and serve these moms? What's the real motivation behind that?
My
Yeah.
babies. My babies. Absolutely. I have, so as you said earlier, I have a very interesting age range of children. I have a 20-year-old, I have a 4-year-old daughter, and I have a 7-month baby. And I just look at these children and I think there is nothing more in life that I want for them than to fully live in their
Hmm.
full potential as humans on this planet. And in order to do that, they have to have the skills to be able to manage their own minds. They have to have the skills to be able to manage their emotions so that they can get those results in life. And it's so awesome to be able to teach women these same skills, knowing that then they're going to go teach
Yeah.
their
Exactly.
babies these skills. And how incredible would it be to raise a generation of children that are self-aware and confident and who love
Sure.
themselves and show up every day in their full potential because they've stopped getting in their
Exactly.
own way.
Yep.
They've stopped the mind chatter, they've stopped self-sabotaging, and they're just there because they have taken full responsibility for their actions and their
Yeah.
results.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yep.
it's my
Babies.
babies.
They're a
Absolutely.
pretty easy
Mm-hmm.
driver, to man.
Oh, heck yeah. And babies, I also include the
Yeah.
20-year-old
She's
in that
always your baby,
category.
right?
Once,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna kind of come to a close here, but like we always like to get out in the community, find the best of the best, and we want to share that with everybody so we all have more resources. Um, can you, let everybody know, a couple people or somebody that you just know that they need to know about? We can say their name on here, and then maybe I can try to get them on here for, future community connections.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I would say, and it's a hard one, Josh, because I have two of them, but I think I'm going to choose, um, I'm going to choose Dr.
Okay.
Susanna Rogers, who is a physical therapist at Advanced Physical
Okay.
Therapy in Anchorage. She's also the physical therapist for the U.S.
All
Nordic ski
right.
team. So she has incredible experience working with
Okay.
athletes and with all of those associated aches and pains. So if you're listening to this show and you are noticing that as you're riding your bike or skiing or running or whatever, and you've got a tight hip flexor, or if you're aching, or Susanna is a lady that will know exactly
Okay.
what is going on, and she will just cut right to the chase. She's a dynamite for sure, and a ton of knowledge. I mean, she is
Awesome.
just a
I got
clearinghouse of
her. I got her
information.
name
So
down, so I
yeah,
can, try to reach out to her. Maybe you can help me get connected with her as well. Um,
heck yeah.
so let everybody know how they can contact you. What's the best?
Yes, for sure. So you can always go to my website, which is katierehm.com, and it's Kati.
That.
I don't know, there's no E, but Kati Rehm, REHM.com. But the best way is to find
Okay.
me on Facebook. So if you go to and my handle for Facebook is @LifeCoachKatie. And I definitely recommend that your listeners go find me because there's a lot of shenanigans happening over there. I guarantee you it's an interesting time. So there's at Life Coach Katie. We do a lot of live videos like this, and there's always cameos by my kiddos. But if you're a mama, definitely join us on our closed Facebook group. It's a closed private Facebook group. It's called Strong Mom Tribe. So if you go to Facebook and if you put in the Strong Mom Tribe, and you have to include the word the, you'll see it'll pop up, and just shoot over a friend request. We're an amazing community of women. We're over 200, almost 300 women who have children, who show up every day to support each other. And I go live on that tribe group every Friday, and I coach women for free, just right there. So if you have questions, if you have issues, like just bring it. We have literally talked about everything. So it's an amazing tribe of women that are so supportive, and really it's a community that every mama needs in their life. So that's the Strong Mom Tribe on Facebook. So I would definitely recommend that be your next step if you're a mama, to go there. And it is just for mamas. Sorry, dads. It's just for mamas.
No worries there. Okay, cool. And I'll put all that information in the comments down below. All your contact information so everybody can reach out to you. So, and then,
awesome.
So for everybody watching out there, make sure to share this, tag somebody that a mom that, think, this could be useful for them, which would be everybody. So, share and tag some people, and, make sure to like our Facebook pages. We do this every once a week, about Tuesday, Wednesday, we do this community connection. So we bring more resources to you. And next week, we are going to have Lena with the Heritage Birthing Center, and she's going to talk about the float tank, Float Alaska. So that's a pretty new one. I think she's the only one now, I think, that has a float tank, maybe one other one. But yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, it's super cool. If you've never done it before, I've done it, but we'll talk more about that next week for sure. So tune in then, and thank you very much, Katie, for your time. Appreciate it. You had a lot of awesome information, so I learned a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Josh, for this opportunity and for offering this to the community. What a great resource.
Thank you.
Very cool.
And so, we'll see you all next week on our next Community Connection. Be well, everybody. Bye.
Bye.